Hello everyone, welcome to the Covestro Arena at K2022. Please give our panel a big round of applause. Thank you. Because now we want to talk about diversity, equity and inclusion. Is it something that is just nice to have? Is it a must-have for companies these days? Is it something that just makes employees happy? Or is it something that can actually lead to business success? We want to find out. We have people with different perspectives and experiences here on stage. We're privileged to really have people that have a lot of experience with diversity. So we want to try to find out what it takes to have a diverse company culture and how we can get there. So to get us started, I want to ask our panelists, our guests, to introduce themselves. And let me ask you, what is your connection to diversity? What's your experience? So, Tijen, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, for sure. Hi, I'm Tijen. I'm the founder of GDW, called Global Digital Women, and also ACI Consulting, which is a company who consults other companies in terms of diversity, equity, inclusion. So what we do is, when a CEO comes to us, we consult them to be more diverse, to become more diverse in all kinds of dimensions, not only gender equality, in all kinds of dimensions. And what is my connection with diversity, equity, inclusion? I started my career actually in politics, so I worked for members of the European and the National Parliament and also the federal president, and I was always the only one in the room, so I was kind of feeling like an alien in the room because I was the only woman, sometimes the youngest one, and also the only one with, let's say, migration background, because my parents are originally from Turkey. And then I thought, okay, that's not right. So where are the other women out there, and where are the other ones with migration background, also men? And then I started a female network 5 years ago, and that was my what was my start of my company. And now we are one of the greatest companies when it comes to diversity, equity, inclusion in Germany and also worldwide. So no understatement here. And I think it's more important than ever when we see what is happening actually worldwide, in Iran, also in other companies, when it comes to equality, but also other dimensions of diversity, that we fight together and that we motivate people to be aware when it comes to these kind of topics. And that's why I'm doing that every day with a great team of 20 people now in Berlin and Munich. And that's great. That's my passion.
Wonderful. It's great that you're passionate, and it's great that you took the time to come here today. Murat, your name suggests that you also have a very diverse background.
We have a connection, right?
Yes. Tell us about yourself.
Thank you very much for participating. Yeah, my name is Murat. I'm 40 years old, and I've been working for Covestro now, or for a chemical company now, for 23 years. And I'm a father of 2 girls, and I did parental leave that time, where it's not so famous as a guy, as a worker in a production, and with my national history, with my different cultural topics. And so I knew all these topics, what you'll talk about too, and I want to contribute this with, I'm one of the founders of the Fathers Network at Covestro, and we want to show our role models, send impulses into our employees to show up. It is possible, you can make it, you can do it, and there is no problem with you. That is, that's the pulse of the time now, and I want to contribute and I want to help to change this culture in a better way. We have to connect, and that's the right way.
Wow.
Yeah,
thank you for coming in and being on this panel. Laura, what's your background?
Yeah, hi, I'm Laura. I'm a Kiwi. I'm from New Zealand. I have one small daughter at home, and I've been in the company now for 5 years and living in Germany for about the same time. I'm a chemist by training, working in application development at the company. And shortly after I joined the company, I realized that there wasn't an internationals network where other internationals could get together and support each other on some common topics that we struggle with, like taxes, housing, just the general struggles in Germany. And so together with another colleague, I started the Internationals at Covestro Group.
All right. Thank you so much. Laura, Markus?
Yeah, my name is Markus. I'm 51 years old. I'm 22 years with the company. I'm also, like you, a chemist by education and passionate for technology. I'm currently leading the process technology team for Covestro. And but next to technology, a big passion is also diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so also coming from my background, I'm half Indian, half German. I grew up also in a diverse cultural background. So I always liked the difference, and being different, but also saw the challenges of being different. So that was always driving me somehow. So I also started engaging in D&I in the company. So I was part of the D&I Council, coordinated the global D&I activities a couple of years in Covestro, and tried to build up structures and bring together people, connect employee resource groups to each other, like the Fathers Network, like the Internationals, but also the Gender Equality Network. So that was a big passion for me, and now I'm also a sponsor of the Gender Equality Network, our Compass team in Germany, and that's also I'm representing here today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Markus. So, Tijen, we have 4 really beautiful, experienced, passionate people here on stage working with the topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion. But I want to hear from you the realistic picture. So let's first find out where we stand. From your experience working with so many people, different companies, where do we actually stand as a society, in business? What's the realistic picture right now, October 2022?
I would say we have a big understanding when it comes to these kind of topics. So when you watch series or when you watch the media discourse about diversity, equity, inclusion, you are more than ever aware of these topics. But understanding is one, and the action is the other part. So action speaks louder than words, and that's why we need also the commitment of the CEOs of any size of companies to really have a great initiative when it comes to diversity, equity, inclusion. So we see there is a movement also here in Germany, also with our new government, I have to say that, and also when it comes to different kind of companies, also the society, but sometimes there's a gap in between the wordings and the actions. And so what we see when we consult companies, again, you need the commitment of the CEO, you need like great sponsors like you are, you need really the PS on the street when it comes to these kind of topics, and we do need all of them here. We don't need only the women or the people with migration background, we need all of them to be part of these discussions, because it's not a women's topic, and it's also not a topic of people with migration background. So it's a topic for all of us, because diversity drives innovation, and we have all these kind of studies out there. But sometimes I have to prove these studies when it comes to the reality. Some CEOs told me or tell me, Tijen, when this is true, why we do not have in all companies diversity, equity, inclusion. When it's true that diversity drives innovation, why we have this lack when it comes to the companies? And that's the question that I'm also telling the people. But I'm an optimistic person, and I think we have now a great year of a big movement. Again, when we see what is happening in Iran, but also in our country when it comes to politics, we do need to really to make an impact when it comes to the topics. So also, by the way, also in the startup scene, I'm also an investor and I'm a business angel. I only invest in female founders. So, and when I see this, we have over 90% venture capital funds led by men, and men invest in men. So that's why I decided to change the perspective and to become a business angel, to invest especially in women. So we need these kind of doings, but also, again, we need all people to be part of this discussions, and not to say, okay, it's not a topic for me. Diversity is a topic for economy, for society, but also in an individual perspective. It makes me better as a person. It's better when I have a diverse table, another table where mini Tijens are sitting, or a copy of me is sitting there. It's not sexy. Yeah, so it's better for me when I have a diverse table with diverse perspectives and diverse individuals. It makes fun. I know it sounds crazy, but it makes fun.
No, absolutely, and like you said, it's a driver for innovation. And Covestro is, wants to be an innovative company and wants to be curious, wants to be courageous, and wants to be inclusive. It's part of the company's strategy. So tell me, I mean, like Tijen said, well, the awareness is there in society, within a company. From your experience, how difficult was it actually to walk the talk, to bring this awareness into action? I mean, Murat, you established the Fathers Network, and maybe that's not a topic that so many people have on the agenda. Well, do we need a Fathers Network? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, how was it for you?
Yeah, when Covestro was founded in 2015, I've seen the last 7 years, they did more in cultural change than the 15 years before. So it was important for us also to show these examples from before, but beforehand they didn't talk about it. And now we make it visible, and also diversity, there are so much topics, LGBT people or people with disabilities are also part of it, and we have to all to be on this table and talk about it. And the visibility nowadays is more important than ever for driving the innovation. And now the people get more and more curious about it and more courageous about it to show show the examples and role models also. And that's important for driving innovation. And with the ERG network, like the Fathers Network, we are supporting it. We are showing role models to get other employees, more curious and more courageous about this topic, because it has to be normal, not for discussion.
But what were the reactions? I mean, did you encounter any obstacles? Did people tell you, come on, Murat, I mean, do we really need this?
Yeah,
Isn't this wasted time and energy?
At that time, I'm always telling them about my story when I get to my first parental leave. With my national background, first time from production, and that was like, what? You are not the mother. I say, yes, but I'm a father, and that's also part of it. Yeah, and that time was, it's not so famous. It's not so famous, and now it's just normal. And we are keeping on track at Covestro, and we are on a good way. But there are a lot of work to do right now.
Yes.
But we are on track, and this is also, you have to discuss about these topics. I say, why? Parents are, father and father, father and mother, or mother and mother. It doesn't matter. When we want to drive innovation, it doesn't have to be a topic at our work. So it just has to be a solution for everyone.
Do you share this experience, Markus and Laura?
I think intellectually in the company, the awareness is there that it's absolutely adding benefit, and it fosters innovation, creativity, and also like workplace satisfaction, and people are more happy to work in the company. And by working more happily together, we are working safer, healthier, and whatever. It's a lot of things, and intellectually, I think it's not a problem. Also, from a diversity perspective, we are a diverse company. No? That is not a big topic from so many different dimensions. But what we are lacking a little bit is the topic of inclusive behavior. Yeah? So there is still a way where we can better listen to our people, make this a standing topic on our agendas, and really create every day the awareness before we make decisions also, that this is really important to consider, that fathers also need to take time out when we hire people and talk about these things. It's not only by setting targets and goals. No, we want to have X% female in our leadership levels. It's really about how do we change the behaviors. And I would like to learn also from you. What is your experience? How do you bring companies to change behavior in also their daily lives? How do you incorporate it in our daily lives? But maybe Laura, if you want to go.
Yeah. Maybe Laura first.
Yeah, maybe from the international perspective. So a couple of years after joining the company, I looked around and thought, how does a company of this size not have a network for internationals? There are a lot of us here, and there's no support for us. And so I went directly to HR and said, we need to do something. And they, of course, were on board and were happy for us to have an employee initiative to make this group. And that's great. I mean, we now have more than 100 members. It's really a place where people can actively help others, have a buddy system. It really has the support there for people. But yeah, I agree with Markus that this is an employee-led initiative, and it still requires more from the upper management, from other areas to really acknowledge and have this awareness for what it's like for an international in a German company, and some of these struggles that we all have.
All right. So yeah, let's get to the how, because Markus just said, well, sometimes it's just important to listen. What do we need? Do we need rules, strict guidelines? Do we need to listen? Do we need to share experiences?
Yeah, first of all, we need kind of have a really commitment again of the CEO and the management board. What I see, it's not enough to have like a quota and then like to have one woman in the board. Yeah. For example, in Germany, we are talking about one woman in boards. Yeah, we are not talking about the half. We are talking about one woman. So sometimes it's really funny to see all the discussions on social media. But again, so it's not enough to have one woman in board when she has to act like a man. So that's not inclusion. That's why I'm so happy that we are discussing about diversity, equity, and inclusion, because diversity is one part. So diversity is that we count. We count how many women are there, how many people with migration background or from different kind of generations. But inclusion is like taking part of decisions. So, and that's really important that we see that we need to have this kind of equity and inclusion atmosphere in the company culture. And yes, it has to be part of every minds, and every mindset in the company. But what I see, there's a lot of fear when it comes to these kind of topics. And that's why we need this great initiatives. We need more Murats in companies. Yeah. So yes, you made it. You can be a great ambassador for my work, actually. But we need to have this kind of initiatives, and we also need to break the biases. So in the mind, so we all have this kind of biases, but also we need to tell new kind of stories when it comes to role models, when it comes to how you live your life, like staying at home, not only as a woman, as a mom, especially here in Germany, but also as a father. That's what you said. So we need to tell different kind of stories so people can inspire people to think about their biases. And that's really important. And one tip for all of you is have a look on your network, whether it's online or offline. So who is part of your personal and also professional network? Is it like you are, again, connected with a copy of yourself? That's really easy, but it's not easy to have other people in your network, who have other opinions and perspectives. And this is not easy, so because you have to discuss all the time. I know what I'm here telling about, because I have also a really diverse team in my companies, but it makes me better as a person. And that's really important. So what I can give you here, offline and also online here, digitally, you said there are millions now.
At least, if not billions, yes.
Billions, okay, billions out there. So have a look at your network, So, and I followed a long time ago Trump on Twitter. Why? I'm not a fan of Trump, but I wanted to understand his perspective when it comes to politics. And this is really important. So you don't have to follow Trump or other, let's say, crazy people, but be aware of the diversity in your network. Again, whether it's online or offline. That's one part of becoming more diverse, or having an open view when it comes to diverse perspectives.
One realization that we had many times on this stage over the past couple of days was that no one can do it alone. Whether it comes to industry solutions, sustainability, circularity, the secret really is in coming together and then at first we don't have to have the answers, but maybe you have to ask the right questions to come together, sit together at a table and ask each other questions. So when you started and throughout your journey within Covestro, how did you approach it? Did you just go to people and ask them questions, or ask, do you want to join, or did you feel, oh, once I started something, people came to me and said, oh, thank you, you did it. Finally, someone, made the first step. How was that for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would say initially when I joined, and I think it's the same with a lot of other internationals, you immediately gravitate to other internationals because you have similar topics, similar questions and experiences. But in this case, I think then it really grows from word of mouth, right? So you have one person, then they say, oh, there's this network you can join, and they're really helpful. So it very quickly becomes this awareness of the community allows for it to grow. And also having, I think the company support from HR also provides new colleagues to give them the awareness that we are there and they can directly join us to have the support.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it needs the individual action, right? Someone needs to start.
Definitely needs to start, and but then it also needs more attention also from the leadership side. Mm-hmm. So it needs to come from both ends. That's what was my experience with the Gender Equality Network. So the Gender Equality Network started with like 7 to 10 women working more on the guerrilla mode, really
undercover,
yeah, trying to fight for certain topics in Germany, how to do things better. And when I was leading the D&I Council, I realized, oh, this group needs also support and more attention, and they need to go out, and also men need to join this. And also they asked, why aren't men joining our gender equality? Because gender equality is not only about women. And then it slowly started to grow, and then I don't know what triggered it, but there were all of a sudden a lot of people attracted to it. After having some attention in the Diversity and Inclusion Day or German Diversity Day, we did some activity there. And now I think we are more than 50 women and men in that network alone. And now it starts multiplying, starts growing. And also the connection now to the D&I Council works much better. So the goals are somehow aligned, and they get funding, they get budget for doing things. And this is important, that the bottom up meets the top down somehow.
Really interesting. Yeah, Murat, I mean, you probably have the same experience, right?
Contribution of networking is very, very important for these kind of topics. And I will give you an example with my national background. When we decided that my wife will not work anymore, everyone said, it's because of your cultural background, it's normal with your... No, my first daughter, when she was born, she had a really serious disease, and someone has to care of her. And we've decided, just because of the salary, not because of women or men, just because of the salary, we decided, okay, I will go on, and she will take care of my daughter. So there are so many question marks in mind, and only with connecting and talking with each other, we will solve it. Just now, I know your cultural background, Markus. We just know each other better just with connecting and talking about it. So talk, ask, and give the right answers, and we will find a good way.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I now want to open it up to the audience. Talk, ask the right questions, and then you get the answers. So we have the experts here. Do we have any questions? Just raise your hand, and we'll get you a microphone. Or do we have any questions from our online audience? Please send them to us, and we'll see them on this monitor. So if you have any questions, this is your chance. Anyone? Okay, I'll give you some more time, because what interests me also is, I mean, we talked about the obvious issues. We talked about gender, the background, multicultural issues. So it's also a topic like age, a question of inclusiveness. Now we have the older generation. We know the demographic is going the wrong way, so we'll have more and more old and older workforce. At the same time, companies looking for the young talents. So is that also an important topic that you experience in your daily work?
Yeah, absolutely. I would also say that especially the age diversity part or age inclusion is sometimes more a topic than the gender equality part. And it's also a topic that combines, again, the different kind of generations and brings them together. Because there are some initiatives, I don't know if you have this here at Covestro, it calls reverse mentoring, which is a great initiative where younger people consult older people, or let's say people who are more experienced. Yeah.
Oh.
So, and that's really great to see that there's a lot happening, but also the social dimension. So, as I mentioned here in the introduction, being the first in the family who studies, or the first who is becoming a founder. Yeah, so this is also a really interesting dimension, because when I now ask who's here the first, okay, maybe I can ask who's the first in the family who studied, or
1, 2, 3,
yeah,
4.
1, 2,
Oh,
3,
quite
4.
a few.
So man and woman again, that combines different kind of also generations and also ages. So it's really interesting to see, and that's why we need to tell more these kind of stories. And as Murat said, it's really important to gain more visibility for these different kind of life circles and also life stories, because people follow people. So we are always inspired by people. We are always inspired by great role models. You see someone on LinkedIn or Instagram and you say, okay, I can relate. So you are great and I can connect with you because you give me more courage to, I don't know, found my own company, or to make career, or to gain more visibility for me as a person. And that's why I experience a lot, and that's why I'm so visible on LinkedIn, on Instagram. And now it's not always easy, as you can imagine, but I experience a lot of positive feedback. And young women and also people with a migration background, they write me, okay, you are a great inspiration for me. You wear lipstick and high heels and colorful clothes, and that's great to see that you can be also a serious and professional businesswoman, and you don't have to decide whether it's lifestyle or business. And that's great to see, and that's why we do have to become all role models in our circles. You are also great role models, you especially with the great international network, and you with the Fathers Network, and you as a sponsor of these kind of topics. And that's really, really important, that we have the responsibility of individuals to become diversity heroes. It's not only a topic for the politics or the leadership team. Yeah, that's important, and we need a commitment, but we do need the responsibility of all of us, because again, our world is, I know I'm really pathetic now, but our world is shaking. Yeah, so it's really complicated out there, and that's why we need all of us. Chaka.
Chaka needs all of us. Really good. So last chance for you to ask a question. Yes, we do have a question. John, we'll get you a microphone.
Hey, this is a really good talk. So I'm older than Markus, and I've been around a little bit. I'm also not a native English speaker. And one of the things that I found is it's really important for people to understand how to communicate better. In the US, at Covestro, we actually have a Toastmasters organization. If you've heard of Toastmasters International, it teaches people how to speak in public. It is a vastly underrated skill to be able to get your point across, especially if you're in a minority, just like you four discussed. So this is something that, it's not really a question, feel free to answer if you want, but it's one of those things that DEI actually identified, and we have an organization in Pittsburgh and the surrounding other plant sites that tries to help employees improve their speaking skills.
Yeah.
You can find other things that are equally important that can also be improved in similar manner.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful comment. Thank you so much, because
really
communication
important.
is key, right?
Yeah, and communication is the base for good diversity, equity, inclusion stuff within companies, but also in our society. That's why I started in politics, actually, because I discussed always every evening with my parents, and I played with them talk shows. So I was the talk show moderator, and my father was the SPD, the Social Party here in Germany, and my mother was the CDU, the Conservative Party. And then I said, okay, now fight. And then they said, Tijen, sorry, we are out. So we worked a lot, so maybe you have to join a party. And then I went to a party, and there I trained my communication skills. And communication is not about perfection. English is not my mother tongue, yeah? So, but I try to do my best, and I also can a little bit Turkish, maybe not so good like you, but it doesn't matter. It's more like having a really good communication, but also transparency when it comes to diversity, equity, inclusion. But what I experience is there is a diversity, equity, inclusion strategy in companies, but there is no communication when it comes to the strategy. So then they have quotas, but they don't understand why do we need quotas. For me, it's crystal clear why we need quotas, but sometimes people are really offended when it comes especially to quota and gender and gendern discussion in Germany. So I think you know what I mean. But that's why we need to really, really tell the people why it's so important that we have diverse teams. We are all in our filter bubbles, and we think that everyone understands this kind of topics. But let me say that the reality check is no, not everyone understands it. And that's why we need to come together again over the generations and ages and social backgrounds.
And also across the regions. And John is really pointing out a good point here, that we learn a lot also from how other regions are doing it, or countries. And actually, US was always a front runner in our diversity and inclusion activities. And we are always jealously looking, Fabienne is also looking at that, looking at what is going on there. They had established networks with the employee resource groups, a lot of activity, a lot of energy going into that topic. And I said, yes, we can need that here in Germany as well. And that's why we said, let's connect globally and do things and learn from each other. Yeah.
All right. Our time's already up, but this is so fascinating. I wish we could do this for the next 2 hours. But
yeah, let's do it.
One last...
Why not?
We have to clear the stage for the next one. But one last call to action from you, Tijen. When you talk to other companies, other people, what's like the top advice that you can give them, give everyone, what should we do to really encourage for ourselves as well as for our colleagues, for everyone in the company, to encourage more diversity, equity, and inclusion?
My advice is use your voice. It's not enough to have a look when it comes to these kind of topics and to say, okay, Markus is doing that, or Murat, or Laura, or Tijen. It's not enough, especially in these times. You have to be really active on social media with likes and comments and posts, not only with my posts, you can do it, so feel free, but also with other posts, and support the people who are really in front and fighting for their own rights. But we all need you, and diversity, again, it's a great thing. It makes fun. I know it sounds crazy, but it makes fun, and it makes you as individuals better, and that's why you use your voice and walk the talk.
And I think this talk has proved that it actually is a lot of fun to talk about it. Thank you so much for coming here, taking the time, for your expertise. Thank you for listening. And if you have a few minutes, maybe after you can talk to these guys also, Covestro colleagues, find out what they're doing, connect with them, really help them with their network. All right, thank you very much. This is your applause.